Please be advised that we are speaking in our own individual capacities and not representing any companies we may work for. We are not your lawyers, and any information given during this podcast does not constitute as legal advice and is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Enjoy the episode.
Hi guys, I'm Katie.
And I'm Nicole.
And welcome back to Girls Gone Legal. Hello, welcome back. Episode 11.
We hit the 10 episode mark, which was so exciting.
Milestone, so exciting. Now, episode 11, we are here. So what are we going to talk about today, Nicole? What's the theme of the epi?
The theme today is going to be discussing the challenges faced during law school internships and how to overcome them, sharing personal insights from both Katie and I.
Boom. Easy. Perfect. Done. There is definitely going to be a podcast down the road where we're going to talk to maybe a special guest and talk about how to actually get the internship. But it's only November. Yes, there's still lots of time. When did you get your first internship? Sorry.
Oh my gosh, that's a good question.
Because I technically didn't get mine until symposium, which would have been when? February I got my internship.
I think I got my your internship for the summer. You're talking about?
Yeah.
I think I got my internship in the fall of
before Christmas.
Yeah,
really.
I think I got it before.
That's
Christmas.
not normal. Most people usually get it after Christmas.
Yeah.
Is like honestly, like a lot of the cutoffs are like January or February. So don't get stressed. You got so much time. One else, you're good. So we'll definitely try to have someone on to talk about like getting your internship and blah blah blah. But today we'll talk about specific challenges you'll face while you're in your internship. But before we get into that, pause. There's some exciting news in the entertainment legal world of today. What is it, Nicole?
We need to talk about the diss track that Dave Portnoy and Josh Richards has put out in the past week about Zach Bryan.
Yep.
This has been crazy.
Sorry.
We need to start playing the song.
I know. Insert clip.
Insert clip.
Wait, no, maybe don't, or we'll be taken down.
Yeah, we don't know.
Let's talk about it.
We need to talk about the legal issues that are going on with this.
Yes. So, okay, we'll give you guys a rundown. If you don't know, you should know. Come on, you know the drill. Basically, Zach Bryan broke and Brianna Chicken Fry. Josh Richards, no. Zach Bryan and Brianna Chicken Fry break up. Josh Richards and Dave Portnoy write a diss track, Smallest Man, about Zach Bryan. The issue is it keeps getting taken down off Spotify. Why, you ask? There's a legal issue. What's the legal issue, Nicole?
There's many legal issues being thrown out right now in the world. And the first was, this track has been taken down multiple times.
Yeah.
The first time we thought it was a copyright issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to actually play the song, and I want to play the diss track, and then I want to play Zach Bryan's song 28.
Yeah.
Because they are very similar. The melody, the rhythm, it's the same beat.
Right.
And taking a sample of a song of without a copyright owner's permission can get you in legal trouble.
But the whole issue and like why all these people are like, wait, this is allowed is because technically you're allowed to make a parody. That is a defense to a copyright infringement, which this diss track would be a parody. So
so that's why the song went back up. And well, that's not why the song went back up, but the song did go back up, and then it got taken down again. But this time because Josh Richards is signed with Warner Music Group, so they own anything that Josh puts out music-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think I read that Warner Music Group is
Zach Bryan's.
Well,
that's why. So their thing is Zach Bryan always brings in so much money for Warner Brothers, and then they own Josh Richards' rights. So they're basically musical right, whatever he puts out on there. So they're able to say, okay, we're taking that down because they're protecting their asset of Zach Bryan. So Warner Records came in and just kind of put their foot down in it, removed the diss track off of platforms based on what is assumed that relationship.
Yeah. So then Dave Portnoy came in and took matters into his own hands and recreated a song, just him, without Josh Richards.
Yeah.
And I saw he actually posted today. It's back up. It's on Spotify.
Mm-hmm. I think it's called Country Ditty is the new one.
It is.
Yeah.
I did
so that's
see
like
that.
his another jab, but love that.
We've seen him a lot of videos. I'm sure everyone's seen him in the studio.
Yeah.
Getting this together. Yeah. Okay. So another thing I've been wondering with all this that has been going on is if Zach Bryan will try to sue for defamation since he's getting dragged through social media right now.
Yeah.
I really wonder how this is going to affect his music.
Well, you know what it reminds me of is the Drake, like that whole like rap feud, and like how they were
With
like
Kendrick
trying to
Lamar?
and they were trying to say like defamation claims, but because I'm gonna get this wrong, so let me look it up quickly. Defamation for celebrities is they're held to a different standard because like obviously everyone talks about on celebrities. So like defamation for celebrities is okay, so defamation involving celebrities generally refers to a false statement made about them, but the defamation claim and standard is a higher burden of proof. So celebrities are considered public figures, so they face higher burden of proof for discrimination cases. So they need to show that, one, there was the statement that they made was false, two, that there was actual malice, and that there was a harm to their reputation. So like
it's a high burden.
Yeah. So first of all, the easiest way to get out of this is for Dave Portnoy. If, let's say Zach Bryan tries to sue him for defamation, Dave Portnoy's going to say everything I said was true. You did whatever, blah, 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 blah. But it's a lot harder versus like if I defame Nicole, it's easier to say a defamation claim than it is for me to get a defamation claim against Zach Bryan.
Okay, interesting. So
fun facts.
Yeah, we'll keep up to date with that on social media.
I know. Yeah, keep refreshing your page. I'm sure you'll see it. But
all right,
segue into today's episode. So today we're gonna talk about challenges during internships.
Yes, I'm really excited because I have done a lot of internships, starting from college all the way up until graduating law school. So this is gonna be a fun episode to talk about.
Yes.
Do you wanna start with some of your experiences?
Yeah. So I think like my first thing I want to talk about is like this idea that floats over your head when you get into first walk into an internship, and I think that's the pressure to perform. So it's like the pressure to excel immediately during your internship, and that's just not realistic. Like you're usually going into an internship because you have no experience, and you're going in because you're cheap labor and you are eager to learn, and that's kind of usually why you're going in for an internship. So having these like expectations over yourself is just not realistic, I feel like. I don't know, did you feel like when you went into your first internships that you had this, I guess, want to like be amazing at it and like be able to like redline contracts in one day and like be on your own, or what was your process?
You definitely put a lot of pressure on yourself because you want to prove yourself, and you want to do well for yourself, and you want to make a good name and a good reputation, especially when you're just starting out. However, you have to remember that you're just starting out. You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to know everything. You're always going to be learning something. And if you just show that you're there willing to learn and work hard, that goes a very long way. So instead of putting all this pressure on yourself, maybe just take a step back and be like, what can I do to be better? And what can I do to learn more?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think like a way to overcome this pressure is like value self-reflection and like taking a step at the end of the week and say, okay, wow, yes, maybe it was a challenging week, or yes, I like messed this up, but look what I learned in the last 5 days. Look what I learned in the last month, and like reflect on that, because that's one, the best way to grow, but also to like give yourself a bit of a pat on the back, because like especially legal internships, a lot of times you're going in there, at least I went in knowing nothing about like the real world of the legal industry. That's your first taste of it. Like be proud of yourself that like you're learning a lot at once, and there's going to be bumps along the way.
Yeah, when I started my first legal internship in entertainment law, shout out Frank Poe, that's who I was with at my first legal internship for entertainment. And I was so nervous because I hadn't taken any entertainment law classes yet. I was extremely nervous. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know where I was starting. And I was like, I don't even know what to expect at this point. I'm just going into this blind, but I know this is a passion of mine and this is what I want to do. So I'm just going to work, and make sure I'm learning everything and being open to learning. And I learned so much, and I made a lot of mistakes, but thankfully, like Frank, he was very, very patient with me and helpful and would correct my mistakes. And I would sit there and I would learn and try and teach myself also, what can I do differently, or make sure I don't make that mistake the next time. And that's how you improve.
Yeah, 100%. I think also like another point is not only like self-reflection, but also seek out feedback, because like I know I had a
Yes.
great experience like in my first internship, my internship, and I know you said you did, but like your mentors or your leading attorneys coming with you to like give you some feedback. But if you're not getting it, seek it out. Like genuinely, you are there to learn, and I know it's gonna be scary, but like sometimes it's gonna be, at the end of the day, it's gonna be beneficial if you can go to your attorneys and say like, I would love some feedback, like especially early on. It's going to alleviate those pressures and just overall improve your performance. And you can say that. Like if you don't want to talk to them in person, like you probably should, but if you want to send an email at the end of like the month, first month being there, and say like, I would love to get your thoughts on like how you think I am doing, like if there's anything else you need from me, and kind of, I don't know, I think seeking out that feedback, it also shows that you actually genuinely care.
Yes.
Funny enough, I just was at a panel right before we came to film this episode today for our externship class. And I asked a question to the panelists saying, what makes an extern or intern stand out? Like what makes like, oh, that candidate, they were so good when they worked for me. And the most common answer was someone who cares. They care about what they're doing. They actually care about being there. They're not just there because they have to.
Yeah.
And I think seeking out feedback's a good way to show like, I actually care about not only this job, but how I'm doing at this job.
Every employer will love that
Yeah.
if you're seeking out feedback. I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with when you're going for an interview. I know we're not talking about interviews today on the episode, but when you're going for an interview, to show you care, you follow up after the
100%.
interview. Thank you so much for interviewing me.
Yeah.
You know, like when you start your internship and you're working and you're like, what should I do differently? Ask for that feedback. It shows how much
And it doesn't
you
have to be
care.
with like the lead attorney. Like if you maybe you just want to like ask a junior associate that like maybe you work with sometimes, and say like, hey, like am I doing good? Am I doing okay? So
Yeah.
100%.
No,
All right.
Definitely agree.
Segment 2 about this, balancing expectations with law school work. So this is something, so you had this. You had an extern while you were in school, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if viewers don't know, so you can have like externship either during the summer, so when you don't take any courses, or during the semesters. So we've both done both now.
Yeah.
And I've got to say it's challenging. Like having it while I have school has been like, not challenging because I'm like overwhelmed, but just like, there's time, like today, usually Wednesdays is my day to like just focus on work, but once a month I have this class. I was like annoyed that I had to go to the class because I was doing such like cool work that I wanted to sit there and keep doing it. And I was like, oh, I gotta split my time up. I remember that like I only work from 9 to 4, and then I gotta go to school, and like that kind of like separation in my mind has been a little challenging.
I did have a similar experience with that when I first started my first externship while in school. I would go into the office 2 days a week on the 2 days that I didn't have classes. However, I struggled a lot with when I receive an email on my work email, I wanted to answer right away.
Yeah.
But I'm not supposed to be working right now. I'm supposed to be studying for my exam tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I would just want to answer right away or start working on something. And I had to learn how to separate my externship from my schoolwork. And it got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm not even looking at my email or putting my notifications on unless I'm at work, unless it's Mondays and Fridays.
And I think like setting those boundaries, like the dual demands is going to happen no matter what. Like you got school and you got work. That's just like a part of it. And depending on your law school, I think it might be ABA requirements that you need to have like extern like credits, right? Like I think like everyone has to do that at the American Bar Association. I don't think it's just our school.
I don't know.
But you don't have to get it through. You can get it through like clinics.
Yeah,
or
so I was gonna
like,
say you could do it through externships. You could do it through clinics. Every law school.
There's ways to do it. But moral of the story, everyone's gonna eventually have to deal with that fact that there's gonna be a dual demand between like one priority and school. But I think like setting those boundaries right from the get go. So like letting your attorneys know like, hey, here, like what I do is I go to my work calendar and I put in time slots of like Katie in class, Katie in class, Katie in class. So everyone knows like, why is she not in the meeting? Oh, she's in class. Yeah. Like it's very like, and I'm very grateful that I have a great relationship with the firm I'm at now. And like, if I say, hey, I've got a I'm not even in that. I have a common law exam. Like, can I have like today? They'd be like, yeah, 100%. But if you're not, maybe you have to throw it in your schedule and say like, Katie is studying, and like put it in there. No one can block in time with you, and like set the boundaries early.
I have to say that I loved externing while I was in school because I always say this for some crazy reason, but I feel that I am most productive when I'm the busiest. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, I can't wait to do that reading or to study that because I also have to work. Where when I was just in school and like not having an externship, I was like, oh, I have the weekend. I could do this later. I could do this tomorrow. I don't have class till 4 p.m. No. When I had my externship, everything was getting done a lot faster.
100%.
I guess that's just the way like my brain works.
Yeah,
I know everybody's different, but
I completely agree. I like it when I'm busier for sure. So it's like it's nice to have kind of the calm, and it splits it up. You know what I mean? Like for me at least, and like again, might not be all the same for everybody, but like my job is the fun part. So I have my job and I'm like going there and enjoying that, and then the school is kind of like, oh God, here we go. But at least it splits it up. So it's like I'm still like learning in both areas, but one's more enjoyable, and then I go back and study, and then I get to work again, and it's like a nice balance. So
yeah, definitely.
All right. Why don't we talk about that one? Let's do this one. Okay, so the next segment is learning from mistakes and gaining confidence. So I don't know, like, do you have any like specific mistakes that stuck out to you when you were working in internships?
That's a hard question.
I know. I said that I'm thinking if I have any.
I don't know if specific mistakes. I just remember that I always wanted to make sure I was very detail oriented, and if I like missed a detail or something, I know that would bother me. Like if I made a mistake in that kind of way.
Right.
Nothing like that sticks out to me. Watch, I'll leave here and think of something.
Yeah.
But definitely, I mean, I experience that now with work. Like I always, like when you're starting off somewhere, and I mean, even as you're growing, like you're always going to make mistakes. And I think you just have to get comfortable with making those mistakes. But you need to also grow from those mistakes. So it's okay. It's okay to mess up. However, you need to learn from that so you don't keep making the same mistake. I just said mistake like 100 times, but it's just really to get the
it's
point
inevitable.
across.
Making a mistake is going to be inevitable, especially when you're going into the job for the first time, like something you've never done. I think, like for me, I remember I'm trying to think of like an actual specific mistake. I don't think I can think of one other than there's been times where I was like, okay, so first let me go for this. My biggest tip for externships is be eager. If they say, like, can anyone help with this? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Yep, me, I can help. Put me on that project. Because one, you're dipping your toes into all these different areas that you work in to also figure out, like, what you do like and what you don't like. But so someone gave me that advice when I first went in. I definitely did that when I first started. I was like, put me in. I still honestly do it. I'm like, if you need extra hands, put me in. Like, I'm good. Put me in, coach. I'm ready. But the one thing you want to worry about is, like, if you do spread yourself too thin. So I think, like, literally what happened this week is I was like, yep, I'll take that deal. I'll deal with it. Don't worry. And then I got put on another project, which was maybe more exciting. Sorry. But the other side was like this, something else they were working on was like, oh my gosh, I really want to get into this. So I started doing it and I'm like, oh my God, I have a deadline due. And then the thing is, like, realistically, it's not a mistake because what does it mean? It just means I'm going to have to stay up all night doing it, which, like, whatever. I had an agreed upon deadline. I'm going to meet the deadline. It's just more of a mistake for me where usually, like, I like to have my computer closed when it's time to, like, turn off for the night. But if I don't have a deadline done, like, I don't know. It's hard because when you're in an internship, you want to be the eager one and you want to take everything on, but also you can't be the one that's like, oh, my bad. I know this was due 3 days ago and I didn't do it. Like,
you also want your work to be good quality, so don't take on a million things and you think you're handing in all these things. Like, look how much I just got done. But the quality isn't there.
Yeah.
So you rather take on two things and the quality be really there and really strong.
100%.
Because that looks better.
Yeah, 100%. Also, like, this goes back to like touching base with like attorneys and getting like some feedback, but don't be afraid. Like, trust me. My favorite sentence is, this is like green light, good to go, but maybe can you look it over? Like, I do that all the time. One, like, it's so, like, once the work's already done, of course someone's also gonna like do a triple check for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's also just helpful to get another set of eyes on it. Like, hey, I've been looking at this for 5 days. Like, maybe there's something that I missed. So I use it all the time. Or, like, I mean, I'm virtual, but, like, if you're in person, like, popping into someone's office and just saying, like, hey, can I talk through this for a second? And, like, not being afraid to do that is so important. Again, it's going to be different depending on the dynamic of where you're working. But if you have the ability to do that, and maybe it's not with, well, probably it's not going to be with a senior attorney or, like, a partner that you're like, hey, can you look over my work every night? No. Yeah. But if it's to, like, even a colleague to be like, there's been so many times where I had to ask the other interns, like, hey, this is a little challenging. You want to work through this together? Like, what do you have on your plate? Let's work on this together. And that's why it's important to also, like, form good relationships with the people that you are externing and interning with, because you're like, you're on the same boat. And, like, yes, you can play the, like, be competitive. I think that's dumb. Like, I'm not going to be competitive with the people I'm working with, but to each their own.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to work together and ask questions. That is so important. I ask a million questions. I'd rather ask a question than do something and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, what did you just do?
I mean,
and it's
there
like,
is that fine line, I feel like, between like not independence, what's like being resourceful, and then like asking questions. Like I think asking questions is so important, and like definitely do that. But like if I can give you like one piece of advice, like don't be the intern that goes, hey, where do I find this? Like, did you look it up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how many times it's just like, and I've never experienced this in my job now, but like there's been other times where I've like other jobs that I've worked at where it's like someone would send me an email and be like, hey, like another intern, like, hey, don't like where do I find this document? I'm like, did you look in the folder? Did you look in the drive? Like, try to be resourceful first, and then also like it also gives you a leg up, because then when you do send an email and you say, hey, I looked in XYZ, I emailed XYZ, still can't find the document, just want to make sure I'm on the right track. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you be resourceful first, try to like be independent and like do it the best you can before like almost using them as a cop out. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's like a fine difference between like, yes, ask questions, but also like don't like, you definitely don't want to ask your attorney like you know what I mean, something that you could easily find.
No, I 100% agree, and I'm glad you brought that point up. You know, don't be lazy. Do the research first, and then if you really can't figure out, then you ask the question.
Show some kind of initiative. That's what I'm saying. Like there's got to be some kind of initiative.
Don't just ask a question to ask a question. Like I did this and this, and I can't figure it out. Like, can you please help me? Or I don't know where to start. But you're showing that, you know, you took the initiative, you were doing your independent research, you 100%. Weren't being lazy.
And remember, you are still a law student, which also means you still have law student resources. So if there's something that you don't know how to do, like, you still have access to Westlaw. You still have access to Lexis. Like, you can still, and for most part, at least for our school, I'm pretty sure for most schools, your like school library is still available to you. So if there's something like, I can't find this case, like, you know, you can actually ask your school librarian. And at least then, like, you're like, when you come with the great answer of like, look what I found out, like, it still looks like you did it yourself. Who cares that you asked for some help? But use your resources that you have, because you are a law student. You pay for all these resources. Use them. Like, I even had professors that I had reached out to. One of my professors, love her, my civil procedures professor, she at the end of our year had said, like, I'm a professor for life. If you need something, like, professor for life, email me. So our firm doesn't do pre-litigation, but we had this like pre-litigation thing we were doing as like whatever. Anyways, didn't really know what to do because I hadn't really touched anything pre-lit before. Everything I knew was from Civ Pro, but that was the extent of it. So what did I do? I emailed my professor, and without breaking confidentiality, I basically just said like gave her a hypothetical and then said like, what are the civil procedures revolving or whatever. Gave me an answer. Like, it was amazing. So use those resources, tap into them while you have them.
That's really important too.
Yeah. Like, why not, right?
Especially like, after graduating now, and I don't have access to those resources 100%. As much, you know. It's definitely something you want to take advantage of when you have them.
Yes. And like silly things that you wouldn't think of. Like, honestly, templates are your best friend.
I love templates. Like, love them.
So, oh my God, they're just so. And so, if I have a client coming to me or whatever, another attorney coming to me saying, "Hey, can you write this MSA?" What's the first thing I'm doing? I'm looking in our like firm's database to see other MSAs and using that as a like outline, at least like to get an understanding. Because why wouldn't I?
Saves a lot of time too.
And exactly. So instead of giving you a 1 week turnover, I can give it to you the next day, and then give credit where credit's due and say, by the way, grab this like template from Mikey. Shout out Mikey, you're the best. Here you go though. Edit it, made the changes. Bing bang boom. Look at me. I'm resourceful. I'm a quick turnover. Like, you know what I mean? Like, definitely use the resources that you have.
Yeah. No, 100%.
What advice? Was there any like bits of advice that you got while you were in your internship that like really stuck out to you?
I think it's things I've touched upon already. Just, you know, stay true to yourself. Learn from your mistakes. Mm-hmm. Do not make the same mistakes. Keep growing. Ask questions. You know, what you said, show you're eager. I think all those things are great advice that I've gotten and that I would give to other people. I think another piece of advice I would say is don't be scared. You said this. Everyone's in the same boat. Don't be scared. You're all going through it. Again, you're just starting out. No one expects you to know everything and be able to redline an entire contract, start to finish, and have it perfect. You are
100%.
learning.
100%.
Yeah.
I think like another point that's important is there's going to be a pretty good chance that you're going to get an internship or externship that you don't like. You're going to be in there and like, I'm lucky enough I didn't experience, like I loved mine, but like I have a lot of friends that are like, yeah, I hated it. And like, well, the worst part is sometimes it's ones that you're like, oh, that looks amazing. Like I really want to do that. Apply for it, get it. Like, oh my God, this is great. And you get there and you're like, either A, it wasn't what you thought. It's not for me. B, the work, like the dynamic of the environment is not good. Or C, you try it, and then you realize I like something else better. Like either way that happens, first of all, don't give up on it. You got to finish it the way through. And secondly, learn from it. So come out of it and say, okay, why didn't I like that? Like do that self-reflection and say, okay, the summer's over. I finished the externship. It was good. It was whatever. This is how I feel. What did I not like? Did I not like that it was 5 days a week in person? Did I not like that it was like, I thought that I was going to be able to touch on all these different like areas and they only put me in tax law and I don't want to do that. Like what was it that bugged you so much? And then shift, pivot, reapply and try something else for the next externship. That's the good thing about being able to work while you're in school. Technically you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 semesters.
I'm bad at math and I knew that right away.
6 semesters. I guess technically 7, but you wouldn't study while you're doing the bar. So I guess 6. Yeah. You'd have 6 semesters to like try it out. So you have 6 different slots to figure out if you like something, stay, like, or if you don't. Yeah.
I think also to go off of that, the internships and externships that you do and you don't like, I think those are very, very important because you might be in that externship right now. Like, I hate this. I don't want to go. I don't want to wake up every day and have to do this again. Yeah. However, it is really important that you figure out what you don't want to do and what you don't want to do. 100%. And you're narrowing down, I don't want to do that. But now you have some experience in it. And, you know, and that experience will, like, believe it or not, will help you for what you
Everything's
might
transferable. Everything's transferable. Yes. Even if you did, like, let's say you did, I can't even, like, my brain's off. Let's say you did immigration work, right? And you're like, okay, I hated that. Now I want to shift and I want to do copyright. Okay, well, what did you actually do in it? Did it teach you how to draft things? Probably. Like, did you, like, write, like, draft visa applications? Okay, how is that similar to drafting, like, copyright infringements? Like, maybe there's some similarities here. So looking at what's transferable is, like, going to be your best friend because you can make anything sound like another thing. Does that make sense? You can make A sound like B if you try really hard. Like,
yeah. No, definitely. Because you could be, you know, applying for a whole different internship. It's like, well, how do you have experience, you know, for what we do? And, you know, something you have done in the past might not be the same area of law. However, you might have worked on contracts and this place does contracts as well. You know, you can.
There's always going to be crossover.
There's always going to be crossovers. But I think it's definitely important to recognize
and I think,
those.
like, what another topic that's, like, actually important and something that I have been talking to a lot of people about is the risk of being pigeonholed. So what I mean by that is sometimes people, me, find an internship or an externship that they really love and then they don't want to leave. And the question is, are you pigeonholing yourself? So like the firm I'm at right now, I want to stay here 100%. Like I would love to stay here. But I get these outside voices telling me like, but then you don't try anything else. But then like, what if this? What if that? So I remember I've talked to a couple different people about it. And finally I talked to my externship professor. And she had said, the grass isn't always greener. So if you're at a place that respects you, you mesh well with the workplace dynamic, and you genuinely enjoy the work, the grass isn't always greener. Like you might like, yes, it's important to try other things, but if you're happy with all those, like she basically said, imagine what you're doing right now. Are you happy if you're still doing that exact same thing in 10 years? And I'm like, I am. I'm happy with it. It works with what the lifestyle I want. She's like, then why would you leave? If you're saying, kind of, but I kind of want to do something more in like I want to do what I'm doing, but more in big law, or I want to do more what I'm doing, but more in like the litigation side. Okay, then definitely don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't stay in one place. Like then try out, like then go clerk, then go like apply for a mid-sized firm. Like definitely dip your toes in other places. But if you're liking what you're doing and you can see yourself doing that in 10 years, why would you change? Yeah,
that makes me so happy that you're liking what you're doing because I referred you there. When I was doing my externship I was gonna say in college. I don't even know where I am. In law school. And you know, Katie had become my mentee. I was like, you would love this place that I'm externing at, and I referred her, and I'm so happy that you love it
It's
there.
amazing.
And I knew right away when we became friends and mentor mentee. I was like, Katie would love it here.
You also like, and for me, like a really important aspect of like where I wanted to be also is going to be somewhere that I could see potential for growth. And like you have to be straight up. Like I had a straight up conversation with like the attorney I work under, and I said, what would this look like in 5 years? What is the growth trajectory of this position? Like, what is it? Because obviously I don't want to close doors. Like, imagine I turned around and like I found out when I graduated, I can stay here, but like I'm always going to be in this position making this, like, it's just like I'm like, like you want it to be transparent from both sides. So like once I had that conversation, I realized, okay, there is growth, there is opportunity for this. I love what I'm doing, I'm happy with what I'm doing, I want to keep doing it. Why would I leave? So again, it's definitely doesn't happen like this for everybody, and like who knows that what happens. Like I could be laughing 10 years down the line doing something completely different, but like as of right now, like definitely enjoying it, and why would I change it? So yeah,
no, I have like nothing to say back to that. I think that was amazing advice that you just gave. Yeah, and just keep pushing. If you like what you're doing, stick with it, and if you don't, there's always room for change.
All right, some of our key takeaways from this episode.
So one key takeaway that I would like to say is embrace the challenges of your internships and use them as a learning opportunity. Again, I've said this a million times. You're learning. Use it. Keep moving.
100%.
Have fun.
Enjoy it. You're never going to have the ability to be an intern while you're in school again. Like you have this for these 6 semesters, and then like you're on your own. There's no excuses. So enjoy it. Learn from the pressures. Manage your expectations. And like grow from your mistakes, like we said.
I actually have to say something. I have something I need to say.
What do you say?
So I've been interning my whole life because I started in high school to college to law school, and I was like, all right, I'm 25 years old. Like I am ready to get a job. Like I'm ready to everyone was like, no, you're gonna miss school, which I am, but like I was ready to start working. And, you know, this is going off of you're never going to be an intern again. You know, I started working these past couple months, and now I'm like reflecting on that. Like, I'm not going to be an intern again. And today I had to ask about like when you have off for holidays and stuff, because I'm so used to interning and you're there for 2 or 3 months and then you're gone. And it's the next thing. I'm like, wait, I'm actually like at this place now. Like I'm here and 100%. This is my desk for a while. You know, this is not just 2 3 months internship. So learn what you can while you can. Thank you. While you can in the time that you are there. 100%. Because you never will be an intern again. So
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was this week's episode. So thanks for tuning in and listening. I hope that we relieved a little bit of the anxiety you might have about starting your first internship, understanding that everyone feels the exact same way, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know?
That was very, very well put.
Gotcha. In the meantime, make sure to follow us on all of our social medias.
Yes.
Please stream us on Spotify and download our episodes if you love us.
Yes. Stream us on Spotify.
And follow us on YouTube, and follow us on TikTok, and follow us on Instagram.
You'll see all our clips on TikTok of, you know, these episodes, which you can keep up with.
For sure.
So in the meantime, stay sharp, stay stylish, and
stay legal. Bye guys.